Hello everyone and welcome to the New York Empoleon's Week 3 battle of the PCL Season 3. We are taking on Shea Quaza this week and the Dallas Starmies. Keep an eye out as my Wi-Fi battling leagues are about to expand since we are starting the UBL very soon. So we will be showing a draft analysis. The draft stream's coming up at the end of the month and starting up battles over there. I will be using the 10-minute chess timer instead of the 20-minute timer for those battles, so just a heads up there. But I haven't done a team builder yet. For the first couple of weeks of the season, I've just been showing my sets next to the game, which I will continue to do, and I don't think I'm going to go through a whole team builder, but I do want to talk a little bit about this matchup since up until 10 minutes ago, I had about 2 different sets that I was possibly running, and they involved 7 different Pokemon, and I can only bring 6 of them, so there's even probably members of my front office who don't know what my final decision was, so I am going to just talk briefly about my team. So my opponent's team has a Empoleon as his Dynamax Pokemon, and that is absolutely horrifying. That thing just absolutely poops on my entire team. So we are going to have to dance around that. So as a result, I have brought specially defensive Vullaby as an option to beat it. With Eviolite, it can take 1 hit in the rain, 1 D-Max Water in the rain. Max Geyser. And then we are also bringing Swift Swim Quillfish with a lot, like max special defense investment as well, which can take 1 Max Quake thanks to the fact that it's holding a Shuka Berry. I don't even know where to show you guys that. It's holding a Shuka Berry, and it has the Thunder Wave to potentially hit him. And then after that, I can get the Poison Jab damage chip off, because if that all goes well, then the next Mon we're going to be bringing, let's go back here and just find it. The next Mon we're going to be bringing is the Arcanine. Arcanine is going to be Flash Fire, holding the Choice Scarf with Sunny Day in case I get myself into a situation where the rain is up and I just need to get rid of it. Sunny Day can help deal with that. And then Scarf Wild Charge can kill him if he's no longer Dynamaxed. And he has about 10% chip on, which the Poison Jab can get. If it gets to the point where I hit the Thunder Wave and he already has chip on his Empoleon, then Spikes may be my better play just to get general chip on everything. Other than that, I am bringing my Poltegeist with Focus Sash. Again, potential chip, potentially being able to take a hit and then Giga Drain back. Shell Smash with Weak Armor, and then Mr. Rhyme, which can take a Hydro Pump in the rain once he is no longer Dynamaxed with the Assault Vest. If it's not rain, then I can take it a Rocks damage plus a Hydro Pump. If it is rain, then I can just take the Hydro Pump in the rain, and Freeze Dry back will OHKO once he's no longer Dynamax. So those are my answers to specifically Empoleon. Everything else happens to deal with the rest of it, but it's sort of more about killing the Empoleon than anything else. So hopefully I don't just get absolutely bodied. My Durant this week is going to be rocking out with 4 attacks and the Akaberry so that I can take a hit from the Cinderace, especially in the rain. Once Dynamaxed with the Akaberry, I can survive a Pyro Ball, and if I get an Iron Head boost or a Max Steel Spikes boost, then I can take it really well, because I get the defense boost. So that's the team this week. Hopefully it works out and we manage to pull out a W here. I don't know. His Empoleon just beat me every single mock. So that's the team we're going to be rocking out with. That's the team builder. We're going to jump right into it. I wasn't expecting to do a whole team builder, but here we are. So we're going to jump right into it and bring you guys back here when we get into that battle. So see you in a bit. All right, everyone. Welcome back. We are connected with Shea at this point. We have chosen our team, which is hopefully the correct team, and he is done, we are done, and we are going to see which 6 Pokemon he brought for this matchup right now. And he brought the Empoleon, the Cinderace, the Diggersby, the Doublade, the Lantern, and the Acelgor. There is very little that is not predicted there. I was not necessarily expecting the Lantern. I was expecting the Sylveon, but Lantern makes sense against my team, so that's fine. I mean, you can see I do not have an electric immunity, so Volt Switch is very free, and so I'll have to play around that, but hopefully, since 3 of his Mons are weak to Freeze Dry, Mr. Rhyme can handle them pretty well. Now, I do think he is going to lead with the Acelgor. That seems to be the standard lead that my opponents have been doing in mocks and stuff. And even if he doesn't lead with the Acelgor, Scarf Arcanine still puts in a ton of work. Bulldoze is 100% free. He didn't bring anything off the ground. In fact, I don't think he has anything on his roster off the ground, so Scarf Arcanine can click Bulldoze in the worst case scenario. Diggersby would be a really rough lead, but I can always just go out into Egbert if he does lead the Diggersby and scout out what he wants to do. He may just U-turn anyway. So I am going to lead with my Scarfed Arcanine. If he does lead with his Acelgor, I do outspeed it. And we're going to let this battle begin and see where it takes us. So again, the timer I haven't gone to timer yet in the first 2 weeks of the season, but that doesn't mean that we aren't potentially at risk of doing so. Oh, Shay's got the same style I do with his trainer card. That's great. That's great, dude. That's the best kind of trainer card. All right. So he does lead with the Aselgor, which did seem to be the standard thing. Ooh, it's a shiny. It's a shiny. But we are going to lead with our Arcanine here, which is Choice Scarf. Arcanine does outspeed his Aselgor and can click Flare Blitz. If he is not Focus Sash, this just annihilates him. If he is Focus Sash, then he lives. He could potentially Final Gambit. He could potentially set up a layer of spikes. That's not the end of the world. We do have access to the Vullaby, which has Defog and can take a hit pretty well from pretty much anything. So, unless he is, like, Scarfed in some way, Aselgor, we do outspeed. If he's Scarfed Aselgor, that's wild. But we do outspeed. If he is Focus Sash Unburden, then he will survive. But otherwise, he's just going to get bopped, and Aselgor goes down. Turn 1. He knows I'm Scarfed, but it isn't a big deal. So Arcanine kills Aselgor with Flare Blitz. And yeah, now he has the opportunity to go into like Inteleon to threaten me out, or Lantern to stop me from doing anything else shady. But that's okay. I have answers to both of those water types, so that's not the end of the world. And if he goes Inteleon now, then I do get him to Dynamax really early, which is super nice. But I think it's gonna be the Lantern. Yeah, that's a Lantern. So I could go into my Mr. Rhyme here. He's probably just gonna Volt Switch, would be my best guess of what's gonna happen right here. Obviously, I don't need to leave Arcanine in. And Mr. Rhyme, while vital to the endgame strategy in terms of it can take a hit from Inteleon, that's not the only answer I have to Inteleon, so I'm going to bring that in at this moment in time. And he is just going to Volt Switch. That's not at all surprising. I could have potentially stayed in and just taken that, but then I would have done no damage and been stuck anyway. So Mr. Rhyme, I didn't look at how much damage that did, but I'll see in a second, and maybe get a gauge of how offensive this Lantern is. Yeah, so I didn't bring up a calc for Mr. Rhyme, which may have been an oversight, but I can do it right now while he's deciding on his next move here. Or what Pokemon he's going to bring in. So Mr. Rhyme versus Lantern. So Volt Switch should do, if he's offensive, it'll do about 20%. If he's not offensive, it would do about 15%. So that's our gauge, and I have to see, you know, when this thing comes in, whatever it is. Which is the Cinderace, which is fine. So we get to see, did about 20 damage. So yeah, he's not offensive at all. But this thing probably is offensive. This thing's probably quite offensive. Now, I could go out into my Arcanine, which is Flash Fire. He could U-turn, but I'm not locked into anything at that point. He has to be Volt Absorb on his Lantern, which isn't the end of the world. So I think that's my best play, is just go back into Arcanine, eat the Pyro Ball if that's what he's going for, and then click Bulldoze for free, and get a ton of damage off on this Cinderace if he stays in, or whatever he switches in, it'll be slow after that, and if it is the Lantern, then it takes a super effective hit. So go back into Arcanine. If he does go for the U-turn, not the end of the world. Again, I'm not locked into anything like quite yet, so and there's the U-turn. That's fine. So he's just going to try to Volt Switch and U-turn all day around on my team, which is all right. He knows that I'm probably Flash Fire since he didn't see the Intimidate turn 1 from the Arcanine, so he's going to have to be wary about clicking Pyro Ball. Now I want to calc how much this Arcanine does to this Lantern, knowing that it is probably defensive. And I gotta do this quick because now I am on the clock here, but I think Bulldoze isn't gonna kill. But I also don't think Scald is gonna kill. Scald would, well, that's like max special attack most. Hold on. Bulldoze definitely won't kill. Won't even come close to killing, but that's okay. I think Arcanine can just click, do I want to Bulldoze here? I don't have a really great switch into this. Probably going to Volt Switch anyway, so I'm just going to Bulldoze here. And get off, like... Oh, he's Shookaberry. Okay. That's good to know and good to pop, so that it's gone for later. Does, like, no damage, but... Now my Durant is even scarier. And he does go for the Scald. That should take me out. Because I'm a very offensive Arcanine, and it does. So Lantern kills Arcanine with... Scald. That's alright. Again, I can go out into my Mr. Rhyme and go for the Freeze Dry pretty safely. The there's not a lot of downside to that. Doublé doesn't want to switch into it, because then I can go for a Shadow Ball right after that. Cinderace could come back in again, which would be a pain. I could go out into my Durant here and click Stomping Tantrum, which would be a decent option. That should... Yeah, I think that is my play here. It's one of those two. I don't mind using my Dynamax early. I really don't. It doesn't have any danger, like any negative side effects for me to do that. So I'm gonna Dynamax here, and I'm gonna Max Quake. He has no switch into that at all. His only resist is dead. This thing is weak to it, so I'm just gonna click it and go from there. As we're gonna take a quick look at how much this does. I didn't calc it before I clicked it, which is maybe an oversight. You know, could be. But Durant to a Lantern, and we're gonna Dynamax. We're gonna Dynamax Quake. He doesn't have his... Yeah, this kills even with the chip. Specifically with the chip from the Arcanine. This absolutely kills. And gives me +1 Spadef, which is nice. And with the Aqua Berry, I can take a hit from the Cinderace too, which is good. Since I won't have to take a hit from this thing, because I did pop its Shuka already. And there's... Even if he's max defense bold, this should kill from full. And it does. So Durant gonna get a kill here. So Durant kills Lantern with Max Quake. And now he's going to go Cinderace. He has no other option, and he's going to click Pyro Ball. I do live a Pyro Ball thanks to my Aqua Berry from full, as long as I am Dynamax. And unless he's Choice Banded, then there's a chance he kills, but then I'll know if he's Choice Banded, and there's no reason for me to do anything other than just click Max Rockfall here, because I don't see him being banded. There's the Pyro Ball. Eat my gigantic Aqua Berry. I didn't even realize that would be so large. And he's not banded, so that's not going to kill. And we're just going to be able to click a Max Rockfall here, which will force the play into Inteleon, because that's going to kill the Cinderace as well. And that's going to drop. And so Durant kills Cinderace with Max Rockfall. Now, the reason I click Max Rockfall instead of Max Quake there, because Max Quake also would have killed, is because I want him to go into his Inteleon, and I want him to click Max Water, Max Geyser. This is a bait that I am going for. I will die if I stay in. I could now go out into my Vullaby, which doesn't have... Well, it can stop the Diggersby, so I don't think I want to do that. I could also just go out into my Quillfish. Since, again, Mr. Rhyme is in a range where it can survive, so I need something to take a hit. Quillfish can take the Max Water and a Max Quake following it, and Thunder Waves next to the Shuka Berry. Or I just let my Durant go down. Durant does help against the rest of his Pokemon, but not that much. So I'm just going to go for a Max Flutterby. He's probably going to... Yeah, he's obviously going to Dynamax. He's probably just going to Max Geyser. That's my expectation. But I'm baiting that out because I would love him to have the chip. And if he has the Max... If he goes for the Max Geyser, then my Quillfish comes in and clicks Thunder Wave every time, and I outspeed him thanks to the water, the rain he has set up for me. Which, since I'm Swift Swim... So he does actually go for the Max Airstream here, which is really interesting as a decision. So he does have the Air Slash. And Inteleon kills Durant with Max Airstream. That's all right. Again, I live a Max Quake from this thing with my Quillfish and can go for the Thunder Wave here, which would be gigantic. And that's obviously what I'm going to click. So he didn't fall for my bait. He goes for the Max Quake. He does fall for the bait on that one. So he has the Mud Shot. But we're going to live that. And if I miss Thunder Wave, guys, then, like, welcome to my life. But as it stands, he's going to get the Spadef boost. He's at +1 special attack, but I need to land this Thunder Wave. And we do, which is amazing. Now he's going to be able to outspeed at this point, potentially. And yeah, he does outspeed me still. And he can click another max Quake. So I'm going to go out into my Vullaby. I'm not going to sack off my Quillfish to that. If he predicts that, fine. Again, what I need to do now is just go out into my Mr. Rhyme. If he goes for the max Geyser, I still live a Hydro Pump in the rain with my... So I'm just sacking Vullaby at this point. I know it's helpful against Doublade. Maybe I should have just sacked my Quillfish. It did its job. But Vullaby, I'm thinking he's going to max Quake here anyway, so it does the same job here of stalling out. So he actually does potentially predict. I'm not sure. He goes for the max Airstream. That doesn't even 2 KO me. And he's going to get another speed boost. So he's at +1 SPDEF and +2 speed, which makes him neutral speed, which is fine. Again, at this point, he is now small again. We have done successfully what we needed to do, which was stall that out. And I can roost here as he's probably going to go for a Hydro Pump or something. Fully paralyzed, so we get a free roost off. And I am not going to be affected by sand because I have Overcoat, which is fantastic. And even though he still outspeeds everything, full paralysis is still pretty helpful. So now I can knock off without any downside or repercussion to it. Help get this thing's item off. And there's the Hydro Pump. We should tank that. No rain, there's no anything. I'm Eviolite, I'm max SPDEF, and yeah, we tank that. So now we're going to knock off, get rid of whatever item he's holding, which was Choice Specs. So now he won't even do nearly that much damage to me, so I can roost again. And so I can have, he has Hydro Pump. And maybe he was scouting out that I was going to be... So there's a Hydro Pump, and he lands it, but we should live now because he doesn't have the specs anymore. And we do, and we can roost. And now he's going to realize that there's nothing he can do in terms of breaking through my Vullaby with this thing. And so I'm just going to roost again. He could switch, but then he's going to be slow, and that doesn't threaten me nearly as much. So he's kind of stuck in here as long as I want him to be here. There's the full para. That's what I'm looking for. And I can get this roost off and not stress about it because now I can take 2 hits, and I can just foul play. Again, with complete abandon, there's no downside to it at all. Diggersby comes in. That's going to take a ton. Doublade comes in. That's going to take not as much, but then it's going to take a lot from the knockoff later. So Vullaby going to be able to chip this thing down. One more hit will kill it. Hopefully he gets fully paralyzed. That would be the dream, but he just got paralyzed 3 turns in a row. That's not like me. I don't usually get my opponents to get paralyzed 3 turns in a row. But that's going to go down, and so Vullaby kills Empoleon with foul play. And is at full health right now, which is amazing because it means the Diggersby isn't going to Oko me with any hit. Even Thunder Punch shouldn't Oko me. Shofu comes out. That should be the Diggersby at this point. And I don't think this thing Okos Vullaby. I still have my Sash on my Poltegeist, which can pick up the last couple of kills here potentially. So I'm going to click Foul Play. I don't want him setting up a Swords Dance or anything like that. That's the scariest thing he can do. Ice Punch does come out here. That's going to do a little over 50%. Foul Play is going to come out. And now I want to know if he's Scarfed or not. So I'm actually going to switch out my Vullaby into my Quillfish here. Which seems like a weird play, but like the end result is the same. All I want to do is get my Poltegeist in without taking damage. And then with the chip that I've put him in right now, I don't even know if I necessarily want to set up a... Well, I do want to set up. He still has to have Shadow Sneak on Doublade, and he's holding it back specifically for the Poltegeist to come in, which makes me obviously not want to bring the Poltegeist in because... But I am going to go out into my Quillfish here. He does go for the Ice Punch again. I want to know if he's banded, so I want to know if he's going to click Ice Punch again. It won't kill if he does. Wow, he gets the freeze! This guy's so talented! Okay, so that's payback for 3 straight turns of full para, which is totally reasonable and fair, and I totally get it. But I'm going to Liquidation here. He may switch out into the Doublade, because he is probably choiced in some way. And I don't have a way to unfreeze, to be honest. I don't have a guaranteed way to unfreeze. So out comes the Doublade. And I get to click... I get to do... I don't know. If he Swords Dances, he Swords Dances, right? Like, that's where we're at right now. Is that bad if he Swords Dances? Potentially. Well, I outspeed him. And yeah, I'm fine. Okay, I'm fine. I can just sack this thing. The freeze though, dude. The freeze though. Yeah, Swords Dance is an issue, but like I'm not sure if it's gonna end up mattering in the long run. This freeze hurts, dude. This freeze hurts like hell. How much does a Shadow Ball do to this thing from Poltegeist? If he still has his Eviolite. Okay, so that's Max Phantasm. No, just Shadow Ball. Okay, so I unfroze and I did a little bit of chip. That chip is actually super clutch. Because now I can go Poltegeist. Here, he's going to activate my weak armor if he attacks me, which I assume he's going to do. I have the sash, nothing to break it. So Shadow Ball is 100% the play here. And then I have Sucker Punch, which should do the last little chip. If he's not specially defensive, then this will just kill. And if he is specially defensive, then he's not physically defensive. And then the Sucker Punch will do the last chip so that I can break through the Shadow Sneak, which comes off, obviously brings me down to my sash. There's no question that was going to happen. But it also activates weak armor, which now means that I outspeed a non-Scarf Diggersby. And I can go for this Shadow Ball, and then Sucker Punch comes out. Or it doesn't, because he's physically defensive. So that's just going to body the Doublade. So Doublade, I didn't write down, but Doublade kills Quillfish with, was it Shadow Claw? And then Poltegeist kills Doublade with Shadow Ball. And now I'm just going to click Giga Drain. If I outspeed and kill him. And I do. Looks like Poltegeist is able to pick up those last couple kills. Didn't need to set up anything. Swords, Dance, Shadow Claw, and Shadow Sneak. And Poltegeist will kill, get marked with a kill against, what is its name? Diggersby with Giga Drain. And that'll do it, guys. We managed to pick up another victory here in the PCL season number 3, first season in Generation 8. Thank you all so much for watching. We are going to continue on next week with week 4. I forget who my opponent is, but I will make sure that I am battling them at the appropriate time so that you guys get an upload as scheduled. Now, this was a scary matchup, but we did manage to find a strategy that worked. I'm hoping that we continue to do that with Generation 8. I think my team has the potential to do a lot of damage in this league. Obviously, my first week, I was still getting used to the format, the timing, stressed out. But this time, I took my time where I needed to. I calced where I could, and I was able to still get the battle done in way under time. So, yeah, 3 minutes remaining popped up, but that's plenty of time. So, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. New York Empoleon pick up a big win this week and are able to improve ourselves to 2-1 this season so far. I'll see you guys back here next week as we continue on our journey. Take care, everybody.